Our first guest is Geshe Ngawang Sonam. In 1995, he joined Sera Monastic University to devote his life for intensive study and practice of Buddhism. He has been formally ordained by Khyentse Dakpa Rinpoche and received the highest monastic ordination of Bhikshu from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Presently, he is working as a translator and a Buddhist scholar. His first book is In the Footsteps of Siddhartha, was published in 2010.
Today on this Yoga Day being celebrated around the world, I'm happy to speak on Ahimsa, peaceful coexistence, which is crucial for this world. As a Buddhist scholar, although the concept of Ahimsa is very profound in Buddhist practice, here I wouldn't really speak much about the Buddhist philosophical aspects and the practical aspects, because this is something that needs to be shared worldwide. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Vikrant Tomar for inviting me. If you think of Ahimsa, what it means is peaceful coexistence, or peace, simply peace. Any individual or anyone with a life, if they have the ability to speak for themselves truthfully, no one would ever say they desire suffering. Everyone will say they love being happy. So we all aspire for happiness or joy, and none of us ever want any form of suffering. So whatever we do in life, whether it's a religious practice or pursuing your own career or pursuing marital life or whatever, the idea is to enjoy life, and in the process of doing so, avoid as many sufferings as possible, or if there's a possibility of avoiding any kind of suffering, then we all would garner all our energy towards it. So with this fact, now we have to see practically what kind of lifestyle we should adopt individually, and what kind of practice should we have socially. Yeah, we have different kind of social context, beginning with your family, then you have your own small community, and then you have your regional level, and then state level, and national level, then international level. So individually, as we all want to be happy, and because we are not the only individual trying to live peacefully in this world, you have to think in terms of the well-being of other individuals, particularly those who are highly interconnected with you. So at an individual level, first, in order to develop harmony or peace within yourself, you have to know what creates mental disturbances. Without knowing what really creates mental disturbances, no matter how much you try, your method to cultivate mental peace won't be successful. So for that, from this point of view, we differentiate the different kinds of emotions, okay, or different kinds of mindsets that we have. Usually when we say mind, people tend to think that it's just one entity that has no varieties within it. But mind is actually very pervasive, and it has different types. So we differentiate between the negative and the positive minds and the neutral minds. When you have the neutral minds, then you are neither happy nor unhappy. But when you have the positive mindsets, then you remain naturally happy. And when you have the negative mindsets, then you remain unhappy. So anger, jealousy, lust, animosity, hatred, these are the negative mindsets, whereas love, compassion, sense of gratitude, contentment, patience, these are positive mindsets. So what we try to do in Buddhist meditation is to cultivate those positive mindsets and reduce those negative mindsets. Now, around the world, as majority of people do not practice Buddhism, and even among the people, and then there are also many throughout the world who do not have any kind of religious practice. So a kind of a practice that is that can be embraced by all equivocally will be the common sense. So the concept of interdependence that comes from Buddhism is highly useful here. When we live in a family, although you think your own happiness has priority, because we all have an element of selfishness in us, the fact still remains that you are interconnected. A family works collectively, not individually, not just, you cannot survive all by yourself. Even the food that is there on the table, of course, there is your family member, immediate family members who make it happen. But connected with that, there are so many layers of the involvements of other individuals in your own livelihood. Likewise, when you walk outside, you walk in a community of people who put their own energies together to make something happen. So because of this interdependency, if your own approach to life is something where the concept of interdependent really manifest in your activities, then you will feel naturally comfortable in having a sense of concern for the other individual. Otherwise, although we all like to be selfish, your means of being selfish will be foolish. It will be a foolish selfish, because other individuals, they are not stones. They are humans. Okay? They can understand, they can empathize, they can appreciate. So when you have a sense of empathy for others, and then accordingly, when you learn to be patient, forgiving, and selfless, naturally that builds up your confidence. And when you're confident, and when you have sense of concern for others, then naturally trust will be built. And when there is transparency, truthfulness, then your confidence will always be very strong. You don't have anything to hide. So with that kind of mindset, when you engage in your daily life with a compassionate mindset for others, caring for others' well-being as much as you care for others, for yourself, then you will naturally be mentally happy. And when you're mentally happy, then physically, it will make a huge difference to your physical health. So if you can practice that individually and impart that kind of practice within your family, and then if this stretches onto the societal level, and then at national level, and at international level, then we can really think of peaceful coexistence. Nowadays, every nation prioritize their own national interests, which is good in a way, but at the same time, you have to think that ecologically, economically, we are, and also politically, we are so interdependent. And if you remain oblivious to the feelings or the well-beings of other nations, the people in that nation, it will actually reflect back. So therefore, thinking of the law of interdependency that governs us, if you think realistically with a sense of concern, not only for your nation, but your neighbors and other nations throughout the world, and if we work collectively, then humanity has so far from early centuries up until now, we have achieved so much. These are actually achieved not by one or two individuals, but collectively by many individuals. So at a national level, if we put together our efforts with a sense of concern, compassion, with a concept of interdependence at heart, and being unbiased, truthful, and transparent, then I don't think the concept of peaceful coexistence will not work. There is no reason why peace wouldn't work if we make effort. So we need common sense. Although we are in modern century, we are inclined towards thinking like our predecessors when there were differences in the past. People always resorted to violence to sort out the differences. But in the past, you could destroy a small nation. But right now, we have nuclear powers throughout the world. Destruction of one nation will impact another nation, the whole ecology of the world. And therefore, eventually it will reflect back badly, or it will impact the whole globe badly. And then, what is the use of so much destruction? In a war, nobody really truly wins. There is no real glory in violence. So we are here on this earth for a short period of time, at the most 100 years, and then we die. So whether there is next life or not, for us Buddhists, it's infinite lifetimes. But for general people, they don't really think about next life or future lifetimes. Doesn't matter. Within this given life, if you are here on this earth for at the most 100 years, and then you go. We all go. And so what kind of legacy, what kind of world are we going to leave for the future generations? We all care for our own children, our own future generations. The legacy of your nations, the legacy of your people, all those things, we care. But in somehow, our own approach, in many ways, of course, we have many good things, but at the same time, there are so many approaches which are actually outdated. In this highly sophisticated world, if every nation resort to violence, then the world will collapse in a matter of few minutes. We will all die. So therefore, peaceful coexistence at national level, at international level is highly crucial for our own individual existence. And so peace begins from oneself. If there's peace within oneself, then you really wish to see that reflect on others. And therefore, when you work individually in your own family, and then it extends to others. If every individual does that, then truly we have chance for peaceful coexistence. And then another thing is, insofar the kind of education system that we have throughout the world is basically education curriculum that really makes your mind smart. It doesn't really make you compassionate. It doesn't really allows you to, or teaches you to think beyond yourself for others' well-being. The kind of education system that we have is basically materialistic education. There isn't any education on improving your mind, improving your heart, improving your basic human qualities. If you don't have that, then you will not abide by well emotionally. And if there is emotional turbulences within yourself, that will reflect badly on others. And if such an emotionally disturbed person becomes a head of a state, then that will be devastating for the whole nation. And thereafter, it will actually impact the whole world. So therefore, we need to change, somehow complement our education system by introducing a curriculum where the education of heart is also taken care of. So that's all I want to say. And I would like to thank again the United Consciousness for inviting me and giving me this precious opportunity to express my thoughts, which are basically the thoughts of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, for whom I'm working. Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Geshe ji for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and sharing his views. Thank you so much.